If someone overwhelms you with affection early on, it's usually not love. It's leverage. Real attraction builds slowly. Manipulation accelerates. We've all seen the movies, right? The grand romantic gestures, the endless bouquets of flowers, the constant stream of texts, and the promises of a perfect future. We've been taught that big gestures mean big feelings. But real life and psychology tell a very different story. When someone comes on too strong, too fast, they're often not trying to build a genuine bond with you. They're trying to short-circuit your judgment. They're creating an intense, whirlwind experience, so you don't have time to stop and think, wait, is this real? This rush isn't about deep connection. It's about bypassing your natural defenses. It's a strategy, not a symptom of love. They're not falling for you. They're trying to make you fall for a fantasy they've created. So, what's the core mechanism here? It's control. These over-the-top romantic gestures create a sense of emotional debt. You probably didn't ask for the expensive gifts. You didn't ask for them to shower you with constant, undivided attention. But now that you've received it all, you might start to feel like you owe them something in return. Maybe you feel obligated to respond to every text immediately, or to say yes to a date you're not sure about. And that, right there, is the trap. The moment obligation starts to replace genuine desire, control has already taken root. They've created a dynamic where you feel indebted to them, and that gives them power. It shifts the balance from a partnership of equals to a situation where one person is pulling the strings. True affection doesn't come with strings attached. It's given freely, without expecting anything but your authentic self. Let's call this what it is, without getting lost in buzzwords. This isn't about romance. It's about speed. Manipulators rush intimacy because they don't want you to have the time to notice the red flags. They don't want you to see their inconsistencies, how their words don't match their actions. They don't want you to notice their possessiveness or their deep-seated jealousy. They don't want you to see how much they rely on you for their own validation. They create this intense, high-pressure environment where the sheer force of their attention feels like a deep connection. But it's not. It has just emotional pressure designed to sweep you off your feet before you can see what is really happening beneath the surface. It's a smoke and mirrors act, and the intensity is the smoke. I bet this sounds familiar. Think about that person you met who seemed almost too good to be true. They texted you morning, noon, and night. Within a couple of weeks, they were calling you their soulmate, their other half, the one they'd been waiting for their whole life. But then, when you needed a little space, a night to yourself or time with your friends, they got upset. They became distant, maybe even made you feel guilty for wanting that time apart. At first, all that attention felt incredibly flattering. Who doesn't want to feel that desired? But then, slowly, it started to feel suffocating, like you couldn't breathe. And eventually, it might have even felt unsafe. That shift in feeling wasn't random. It wasn't you being difficult. It was an inevitable consequence of their strategy. The mask started to slip. So let's contrast this with what's healthy. A genuinely healthy person respects your pace. They don't rush your emotions. They don't overwhelm you with gestures that make you uncomfortable. Most importantly, they don't demand a level of closeness before trust has even had a chance to grow. They understand that real, lasting connections are built brick by brick through shared experiences, vulnerability, and mutual respect. Manipulative people, on the other hand, confuse urgency with intimacy. They want everything right now. And here's the ultimate test. If you try to slow things down, if you set a boundary and say, hey, this is moving a little too fast for me, and they react with guilt-tripping, anger, or by giving you the silent treatment, that's your answer. Their reaction tells you everything you need to know. And that brings us to the single most important rule you should remember. Write this down, tattoo it on your brain, never forget it. If their affection disappears the moment you set a boundary, it was never affection to begin with. It was a transaction. You were just one part of an exchange they were trying to control. Their love was conditional, dependent on you playing the role they assigned to you. Real love respects boundaries. Manipulation punishes them. At the end of the day, romance should feel safe. It shouldn't feel rushed or overwhelming or conditional. It should feel like coming home, not like running a marathon you never signed up for. Always remember, the most dangerous manipulation doesn't look like cruelty. It looks like love. Thanks for watching, and take care of yourselves.